We're going over resistance band training. These are going to be some fundamental exercises for all fitness levels. Now, if you're just starting out or you've been doing this a while, I'd encourage you to try these out and see how it feels. These exercises are what I've done myself and what I've taught to my clients. I find that it's a lot more accessible because all you need is a set of resistance bands. So if you're traveling or if you don't have a lot of space, it's a great space-saving option to still get a great workout with not a whole lot of equipment. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do, and then we'll do these exercises together. We're doing full body. So we're doing most of the muscles in your upper body, most of the muscles in your lower body. We're going to start by doing the upper body. So the first exercise is a press exercise. This works the chest muscle, the tricep, and some of the front shoulder muscles. So for this, you're going to take the band and you're going to anchor it right at chest level. So if you don't have a post like this, most of these come with a door anchor, which is just a loop you thread the band through and then close it in a door. So right about chest level. And for this, and make sure my mic doesn't ride up into my chin. So for this, you want to step out away from that band till you feel the band pulling you back. And then from here, you're going to bring your hands wide to elbow width. So your elbow and your hand should be a straight line. You don't want your hands tucked in. That's the big thing, is keep those hands wide. From here, you're going to push your chest out. You should feel that stretch feeling across your chest muscles. And that's what's going to get you that really good muscle building exercise with this. So from here, this is our starting position. Chill, chest out, hands wide, then pushing out towards the front, trying to keep that chest out. So you should feel this as you get back to here, really opening up that chest. You should feel that stretch in your chest muscles. Now, if you need to, you can do this over the top as well with the band. If it's digging into the bottom of your arm, either of those options is fine. And this is going to get all the pushing muscles of your upper body. So doing between 5 and 30 reps of this. Then after we get the pushing muscles, now we're going to get the pulling muscles. So those are the biceps, the lats, the traps, and all these little muscles between the shoulder blades. So we're going to get the other half of your upper body with this. So still the same height, but now we're facing towards the post. From here, let your arms pull all the way forward. See how my shoulder blades actually come forward as I do this? And still chest up, shoulder blades forward, and then from here, pulling to your rib cage. Now, you want to almost act like you're elbowing something behind you. So from here, letting the band pull you forward, and then pulling to your rib cage. You should feel that up in your upper back, all the way down into your arms, into that bicep muscle. And that's going to be doing a standing row. Now, if it's ever not difficult enough, you can always take another band and attach it to the handles and loop that around the post. Just double up on the bands to increase that difficulty. So I like these because they're very adjustable, very easy. And if you're working out alone, especially if you're working out, they're a lot safer because if you drop them, they just go slack. So there's not really a risk of dropping this on your foot. Even if you do, it doesn't really hurt if you've got shoes on. They're pretty lightweight. All the resistance is in the tension. So those two exercises cover the majority of the upper body muscles. Now we're going to go to the lower body muscles. So for this, we're going to do a squat. What you're going to do for the squat is step right in the middle of the band, and you want the handles to be about even on both sides. From here, you're gonna bring your hands up to the sides so they're right up by your ears. And then you just move just a little bit. And from here, that keeps tension on the band the whole time as you're going down. From here, you're gonna bend your knees, bring your hips down low towards your knee or to your knee height, and then back up. So you should feel that tension of the band pulling you down, pulling against you as you come back up. And that's gonna be working primarily those quad muscles. Now I'm keeping my chest up as I do this because I want, one sec, let me just move just a little bit this way. Still getting cut off in my head, but so I want to keep my chest up as I do this because if I keep my chest up, I'm working more of those quads. If my chest comes down, I'm working more my glutes and the back of my hips. So with this, we really want to keep that chest up. Now for our fourth exercise, we're gonna still be doing we've got one more lower body one to do. It's gonna be a little different though. You're gonna take the band and hook the carabiners together like that. So it's a big loop. From here, stepping into the loop, you're gonna just hold on to the band itself. And then from here, keeping your knees straight and your back straight. You're gonna, keeping the band close to your legs, push your hips out to the back and then back up, squeezing your glutes together. So this is working the muscles in the back of your thigh, back of your hips. If you need to, choke up on the band a little bit because you want tension all the way through this movement. So this is a stiff-legged deadlift using a resistance band. Now this is great if you have tight hamstrings. If you feel like you can only go down to about here and then that's as far as you go, that's okay. If you feel like you can go further, that is better. So the further down you can go, keeping your back straight, really pushing those hips out to the back. Might be that you do a couple of these and you feel like, man, I can go a little bit further. That is good. That go as far as you can while still keeping good form. Now, those cover a majority of our upper body and lower body. Personally, I found I want a little bit more of that shoulder as well. So I'm gonna throw one more exercise into the mix if you have time for a fifth exercise. And I found that bands really work better than dumbbells for this exercise. So we're gonna be working those shoulder muscles in a lateral raise. So for this, hooking the handles back on, I'd start with a light band for this one. What you're gonna do is step right in the middle of the band and then cross the band in front of you. So these should be at a diagonal. From here, lifting up to the sides and then back down. Now, you can go above your shoulder, but for some people that's uncomfortable on their shoulder. So just trying to get to shoulder height with this is good. So you're going straight out to the sides, feeling that right in the top of your shoulder. It's like you're making a snow angel. And those five exercises cover a majority of the muscles in your upper body and lower body. Now, if you like these sort of workouts and want to see more, I host these live streams at 11 o'clock Pacific time on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, we're gonna go from here and do this workout together. So these same 5 exercises, we're gonna do them in this superset, which means we're pairing the exercises in sets of 2. So since we have 5 exercises, it's gonna be 2, 2, and then the last one we'll throw in at the end. So for this, I'm actually going to be doubling up the bands for the press and pull exercises. That is enough resistance to get 40 pounds, which is what I do normally with the dumbbell. Now the important thing is you want to make sure you have tension all the way through the movement. It's no good if the band goes slack at the bottom of the movement. That's, I think, the biggest mistake people make with these is having it not tensioned properly. So from here, chest out. You can have one foot in front of the other to keep balance if you feel like the band's pulling you over, and then pushing out towards the front. So you should feel that pull all the way back here as well. I'm going for about 12 of these. The important part is the back portion of this movement. Before I had dumbbells or anything like that, I got these I had a set and then it broke. I had the welds gave out on my dumbbells or on my weight set. So for a long time I just had these resistance bands, and I found they're really flexible, especially because they're very easy to move. I had moved a couple times with these. And one more. I was just throwing them in a bag as opposed to having to deal with big heavy plates and moving around heavy weights. Now those weights are fine, but they're not very portable. And sometimes they can actually, if you've got them stored away in a closet or something like that, it can be a hard thing to start working out, because if you get out the weights and then get out everything you need for the workout and start, sometimes it's easy to just grab a quick set of resistance bands, get a quick workout in. So now doing a row, having the band pulling you forward, feeling this in your upper back and traps. So these muscles up in here, back in the back, and in the front of your bicep. So here, pulling to the back, really opening up that chest. So my hands, I'm not putting my thumbs up or in, they're sort of at a 45-degree angle at a diagonal. I need to step back just a little further to let this really pull my shoulders forward so that I'm getting the most out of this workout. So I'm not going all the way forward. I'm losing out on that maximum stretch position, which has been studied more recently. And they found that you actually build more muscle growth from that stretched position than you do from the shortened position. So this is the stretch position and the shortened position. So this part is the most important part to get right. That going back to a full stretch. I find with this one, it's really great for me because instead of being bent over doing a row, where sometimes I feel like my legs and my back are the more limiting factors, Here I feel like I get a lot more of these little muscles in my shoulders to really feel the fatigue. And that's harder to do with a bent over row for me. Give me a moment. Excuse me. All right, since we're doing a superset, we're going to go right back into the pushing exercise, because while we were doing the pushing muscles are relaxing. So, or they're resting, I should say. They're recovering from the work. So we can go right back into it. The next exercise, going back into pushing. And this is a way we can get through the workout faster. We get more exercises in the same amount of time. So I'm trying for 4 sets of these exercises. I found that's about the max for me. I do between 3 and 4. Sometimes I need to dial it back a little bit. And that's something I found last week, was trying for 4 sets 3 times a week was pushing it a little bit too much. Where by Friday, my last workout, my muscle hadn't fully healed yet from the previous set of 4. So what I'm gonna do is try and do 4 sets today, 3 sets on Wednesday, and 4 again on Friday, and see how that feels. If you need to though, if you're just starting out, I'd recommend starting with 1 or 2 sets. And that just means going once or twice through the exercises I've listed here. So once or twice through, had to focus on what I was doing there. Those last couple get very tiring. And that's where you want to hit, is you want to get, or that's what you want to do when you're working out. You want to get to where the last couple reps are very tiring. You don't want to be completely exhausted, but the goal is to get to where you could do maybe 1 or 2 more, and that's about your limit. So going 1 or 2 underneath that limit, because that's the sweet spot for building muscle while not costing yourself too much fatigue. All right, so if you're just joining us, we are doing exercises for working the whole body. We're starting with upper body. We're working through sets of pushing and pulling exercises. So we're gonna do a pull exercise now. So letting the band pull your shoulders forward. From here, pulling to your rib cage, pinching the shoulder blades together. Doing a row. So you want to stand far enough away where the band is pulling you forward at the edge. So when I'm all the way forward here, I still should feel tension in the band. I need to pull a little bit lower down to my rib cage. It's almost like I'm trying to elbow someone behind me. I feel like a lot of people don't do pulling exercises as much as they should in their day-to-day life. So their neck and shoulders are all knotted up and tight, where they never get that stretch and pull feeling. They're just constantly in that tensed up position. So this is a great exercise. If you haven't been working out, highly recommend this exercise, because we tend to be sort of forward and down, working on keyboards or on driving. You're holding the steering wheel in front of you, you're always forward. We don't do a whole lot going backwards. So this is a great exercise to do, especially if you do a lot of driving or computer work, working at a desk, commuting, anything like that. Even reading a book or holding an iPhone or a phone. It doesn't have to be an iPhone, it could be any phone really. You do a lot forward like this, where these muscles all get shortened. These ones don't really get worked. So we're going right back into set number 3. We're trying for 4 sets today, so doing a pushing exercise with the band. Should be anchored right about chest level, hands wide, pushing out towards the front. Now you might feel more fatigued in this last set, or this 3rd set I should say. And that's okay. That muscle can be more tired, where you might have done 10 reps the first time and now you can only do 8. That's okay. Don't get worried about the rep number. It doesn't actually matter too much. It's more about what is the feeling in the muscle. It actually barely matters at all. It's more, how are you feeling with that muscle? You're feeling it working, you feel tension in it. Maybe you feel a burning feeling in that muscle. All those are actually good signs you're getting a good workout. You're creating what's called mechanical tension and lactic acid, which lead to promote muscle growth. 2 more. Last one. And relax. All right, now doing pull for set number 3. So we're doing these back to back to back, because this is getting all of the major muscle groups in the upper body. We are even hitting the shoulder some. We're gonna hit a little bit more of the shoulder later though, just to round it out. I find it's really targeting in on that middle deltoid, that middle part of the shoulder helps. All right, going here. Pulling to the back. Right, there's not really a way for me to anchor this forward very easily. So I know I'm facing away from the camera. Hopefully you guys can see this clearly. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat or the comments. I'd be happy to answer those. I need to step back just a little bit so it gets a complete pull forward. Now, some people think that resistance bands are not an effective way of getting muscle and strength, but actually the studies for them show that they as long as you are doing the same amount of volume, they are equivalent of using free weights or machines, so dumbbells, barbells, machines. So you can still get a great workout using the resistance bands. The hard thing about them is knowing how to use them effectively. And sometimes they're a little bit less conducive to certain exercises, where you have to be a little more creative in how you set them up. But as long as you can set them up correctly, like this, getting them at the right height, having a place for them to anchor, you can still get a great workout. I will say some of the restrictions with these is this is the heaviest band they can go, so you have to do multiple bands. If you get really heavy weights, sometimes the bands get less reasonable for those exercises because you have to stack up so many bands on one carabiner. It's not really practical anymore. But I find that for most people, bands work just fine. And I'd rather you work out with bands than do no workout at all. And these are a great option. Both, I mean, they're not that expensive, they're cheaper. And as long as you know how to use them, you can still get a great workout. And then maybe down the road, if you want to, you can try out dumbbells. I found Some things are easier with the dumbbells, some are easier with the bands. So I use a combination of the two. Let's see. We were on set number 4. So last set of pushing and pulling. Now with the bands, the thing to watch out for is if I'm here and I barely have any tension in the band, that's where bands really aren't effective. And a lot of people point this out, rightfully so, that the band's tension is not uniform. Where the tension here is a lot higher than here. So that's a really good point, and I agree with that, that you really need to make sure you have tension at the bottom. Sometimes that can limit your movement up at the top of the movement. However, I find that as long as you set it up correctly, where you have tension at the very bottom, that's the most important thing, where you're still getting that benefit of the muscle building. I've had a client gain multiple pounds of muscle within a year. Now, I'm not saying that's everyone, but he, using only resistance bands, still was able to build muscle. This is our last set of pushing, and then we're going to go to some pulling and then lower body. And relax. All right, last set. Man, that set number 4 really took it out of that muscle. So go in here, pulling to the back. I need to step back just a little bit further, make sure I have tension all the way through the movement. Now this is speculative, but since the studies are showing that bands are producing the same results as free weights, despite having less tension at this more hypertrophic part of the movement, and hypertrophic just means muscle building, so increasing that muscle size, I think that there's some other factor we haven't yet discovered, and I'd be interested to see what research uncovers as we go. But at the moment, there's it's still a relatively new field of research. The movement of the human body is a newer science than things like chemistry and physics that have been around much longer. One more. And relax. So what's called kinesiology, or study of movement in the human body, it's a much more new science. So we just did upper body exercises. Now we're going to do some lower body exercises. So with this, stepping right in the middle of the band, I pick a heavier band. So if you were using probably a similar band to the pushing and pulling exercises, I had to think for a moment, but if you need to adjust the band, don't worry about going, feel free to grab a heavier band if you need. You might need it because the leg muscles are a little bit bigger. So holding the band up so you keep that tension all the way through the movement. You're gonna bend your knees, bring your hips down to your knee height and then back up. So feet about shoulder width or a little wider is fine, but keeping your knees going in the same direction as your toes. So bend those knees. You should see them right in line with your feet. Keeping my chest up as I do this. It's hard to talk and do these at the same time. And relax. Now, if you find that the band is a little bit too slack at the bottom of that movement, what you can do instead of using the handles is hook the bands together like this. And then, let's see. Try and get a bit more tension into them. Hang on one moment. So for this next one, we're gonna need a bit more tension. So looping the bands together, grabbing onto the band directly. And that's gonna get us more tension. So I should feel this pulling me down. So elbows are straight, knees are straight, and back is straight. So from here, you're going to push your hips out to the back, feeling that band pulling you down forward. If you need to, you can widen your stance a little bit to get more tension in the band. Pushing your hips back and then up. So this is a stiff-legged deadlift. The other way you can do this is by grabbing wider on the band. And that will get more tension into that band. You should feel this in the back of your thigh, in your hamstrings. Oh. Wow. Really driving those hips to the back. To lengthen those hamstrings, get that stretching feeling in your hamstrings. You should feel that tension. And relax. Now take just a moment. As always, take more out of my legs. So grab a drink of water. Oh. So at this point, your heart should be beating a little bit. Definitely get some of the cardiovascular benefits doing the legs, because it takes so much energy. Your heart has to supply that blood to the huge muscles in your legs. So it can get your heart rate going too as we do this. So instead of working on the treadmill, which, you know, the treadmill's fine, but why not build muscle and work on your cardio at the same time? So right now my heart rate is dropping back down, but it's at 137 still. So it's elevated for sure. And if I keep on going, it will stay elevated, where I get that heart strengthening effect along with the muscle strengthening. So going back to a squat, stepping right in the middle of the band and bringing the bands up to my shoulders so that I keep tension in the band the whole time. Feet wider than, or at shoulder width or wider. From here, bending your knees, touching, or going down to where your hips are at knee height. This is set number 2. We're gonna try for 3 sets. If you can't do 3, don't worry. Just try for 2. Try for 2 sets. The goal is to work until you're feeling that fatigue in that muscle. Breathing in as you go down and out as you come up. Breathe in and out. You don't want to hold your breath through this. You want to keep on breathing. Two more. And last one. And relax. All right. So set number 2, up squats. Now we're going back into deadlift. We'll say the nice thing about bands, between exercises, you don't have to carry heavy weights while you're tired. I really enjoy that about the bands. It's easy to change out the weights. It's easy to switch weight. Because, well, they're not under tension, they're not adding. I mean, the difference between a 20 pound and a 30 pound resistance band is only a couple grams, as opposed to, you know, a 10-pound dumbbell difference. All right, making a loop, stepping into both sides of the loop. And from here, back straight, leg straight, pushing your hips out to the back. If you want to, you can have a wall behind you, push your hips to the wall, and then back up straight. A moment, I have to grab just a little wider. Now, depending on the length of your band, you might be able to use handles for this one. For me, I find that I need to make a loop with the band to make sure I have enough tension in it. Two more. Whoop. Going just a little to one side there. And relax. All right. Got one more set to do. If you've been doing this workout with me and are feeling that muscle burn, go ahead and give me a thumbs up in the comments or the chat. Now, if you want to, you can always switch the order of these to get legs out of the way first. Sometimes that can be helpful to get the larger muscles out of the way while you're most fresh. Your heart rate is low, you're not sweating as much, and gets those difficult muscles out of the way. So it's all downhill from there. It's smaller muscles proportionately. All right, going to squats. It's our last set of squats. So band at shoulder level, feeling that tension, have your feet about shoulder width or more. Depending on how your hips are, some people it's easier to have a really wide stance, and that's okay. Some people it's easier with a narrower stance where it's about shoulder width. That's totally fine too. Both are equally as good. It will just change for your individual body. So if it feels a little uncomfortable, try widening your stance and point your toes a little bit out at an angle, sort of at a V shape. So the wider your stance is, the more your toes point out. All right, so from here, bending your knees, dropping your hips down to knee height, and then back up, really trying to bend those knees. We're feeling this in the quads by bending the knees more. Three more. 13. 14. Last one, and 15. And relax. Whew. Those are tiring. Now, if you feel like, man, I'm sweating, I'm red in the face, don't worry, that is totally normal. That means your body's working how it's supposed to. It's working to stay cool. It's working to keep going, keep you healthy. So if you're sweating at the gym, don't feel self-conscious about it. It's keeping you cool, keeping you safe. There was one time I was working at a therapy pool, and because I was in the water, I didn't realize that I was getting dehydrated. So I was working with a client, working out, and another person working there came up to me and said, "Hey, you need to go get water right now." And I hadn't realized it, but I was dehydrating. I was turning red. I wasn't able to sweat anymore. That was a really dangerous thing, actually. So if you're sweating, that's good. The dangerous thing is when you're not sweating, where you might be overheating. So make sure you're drinking some water, not getting too hot, because that's the thing we more care about. But if you're just sweating, that's good. That's normal. That's healthy. That's keeping you safe. All right, last set of stiff-legged deadlift. So stepping right in the middle of a looped band, back straight, feet shoulder width apart. And from here, pushing your hips out to the back, feeling the stretch in the back of your hamstrings, those muscles that run along the back of your thigh. 1. The more you drive your hips back, the more of a stretch you're getting in those hamstrings. So try and keep your knees where they are and hinge from the hip. So we're bending forward at the waist, not from the back, but from the waist. Let me just turn so you guys can see. So I'm keeping my back straight, really hinging from the hips. All right. And that is our lower body exercises done. So we have one more bonus exercise, And that is going to be for the shoulders. So for this, I'm going to use a medium band. This is a 10-pound band. I would start with a lighter weight than you think. So if you need to, start even 2 pounds, 5 pounds. It's totally fine. This is a smaller muscle. It's a much harder muscle to work out. So you're gonna step right in the middle of the band, then cross your hands in front of you so the band makes an X right in front of you. From here, staying straight and tall, the thing is, the arm in this creates a big lever against you. So you don't need that much weight to get a really great workout with this. So holding onto the band, you're gonna lift out to the sides. You should feel that band pulling your arms down to your sides. So lifting up and then back. You only need to go as high as your shoulder. Try and lift the same on both sides. I'm messing myself up because I'm looking in the camera, so it's reversing me. I gotta stop doing that. So I'm just going to not pay attention to that and try and keep it even on both sides. I'm going higher on my left because I think it's my right. It's hard to not pay attention to that. Going to where you feel that fatigue in your shoulder. Now you should feel that right here in your shoulder. If you feel it up here in your neck, try and not lift from the shoulder. Now, if that's hard to figure out how to do, try a lighter weight. If you think about it, if you don't have weights, you don't really think about lifting from the neck when you're just lifting your arm. So try to get the feeling down of just lifting from that deltoid, then add the resistance band and see if you can mimic that using the resistance. So I'm gonna take a minute between, let my muscle recover, and we're gonna do 2 more sets of that exercise. Oh. Now, have you guys ever tried this lateral raise using resistance bands? You know, a lot of people have tried it with dumbbells, holding out to the sides, and lifting up. Sometimes we'll do an bent elbow variation of this. I find though, resistance bands are the best variation of this for me. I have never found something that hits so much into that deltoid muscle. Whew. Getting a little bit warm. All right, we're gonna go for set number 2 of these. So stepping in the middle of the band, crossing the resistance band. Now, if you feel like you were lifting with your shoulder a lot last time, try a lighter band on this variant. Try a lighter band on this exercise we're doing. So palms facing towards your legs. So you don't want them twisted in, you want them thumbs pointed towards the front. So palms in, thumbs forward. Staying straight and tall, lifting up to the sides. Now it's okay if it angles slightly forward as you lift, like this. See how my hands are slightly in front of my shoulders? That's okay. It just means a little bit more of that is going into the anterior deltoid, or the front part of your shoulder. I find though, if I don't do that, the band bumps against my legs a little bit and snags. Two more. 9 and 10. I find it does not take a lot to get these muscles working. And with the resistance band, I find I get tension all the way through the movement, as opposed to dumbbells, where tension only starts when I get to about here. So I'm only really working the muscle in this range, as opposed to from here all the way down. So I get a much more effective exercise with the resistance bands. You could do this with cables as well. I don't have a cable machine though, and I don't know many people who do. Some I'm sure do, but for me, this is a $20 resistance band as opposed to a $200 or plus cable machine, which I know not everyone can afford. I have some pretty nice equipment, but even then, you don't need really expensive equipment to get a great workout. We'll say one of the reasons I got this bench, and this one's a little bit more built. The last bench I had, it was just a standard bench, but what happened is it cracked in the middle as I was on it. So I was doing bench press and the whole thing split. I'm just really glad it didn't actually splinter into my back, because that would have been so dangerous. But it just cracked and I was able to get off of it quickly before it shattered all the way. So the whole thing just sheared off because the welds gave out. That's why I recommend a heavier bench of good quality. Go with a brand that you know. I like Rogue. They don't pay me to say that. I bought that with my own money. But I find that their stuff is really well built. It's not gonna break like that. All right, so going into the third set of resistance band exercises. So, third set of lateral raise. So crossing the bands in front, so it should pull you in towards the middle. Lifting up to the sides, working those shoulders. Working right across here in the shoulder. So pulling up, 1. Trying for about 10 of these, 2. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, and 10, and relax. All right, so that was our workout for today. We got a full body workout doing 2 upper body, 2 lower body, and then just a little bit more for the shoulder in this workout. If you like this workout and want to see more, I host these live streams at 11 o'clock Pacific time on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So hope to see you guys there. Hope you're staying happy, healthy, and working hard.